I told my parents to write me out of the will if I had to become a Christian to inherit. My F26 parents, M54 and F49, have started planning what to do with their assets once they die, and have asked me to be their executor. I recently had a conversation with my mom that left me in a daze, and I'm still processing everything I said. She was talking about how she would like to set up their will like Dave Ramsey did. Apparently, Dave Ramsey sat down with his kids and told them that any inheritance they receive would need to be used for God's will, and if they didn't align with those values, they wouldn't inherit anything, that they were in or they were out. As soon as she explained that, I felt all my defensive walls go up. I have a lot of religious trauma, and the thought of being asked to become a Christian, or pretend to be one, just to receive an inheritance felt like too much. I told her if that's what they wanted to do, she should write me out of the will now because I won't be bribed into becoming a Christian. She said it wasn't a bribe, but more like a business. Her logic was that you wouldn't let someone inherit a business if they didn't hold the same values as the business. I told her I still see it as a bribe and that it feels like an attempt to dictate my life now and even after they die. I made it clear that even if their millions of dollars are on the line, I wouldn't become a Christian for money. Now, I don't regret what I said, but I also can't believe I said it. I couldn't believe I was basically saying no to a non-insignificant amount of money. I feel like I acted authentically, but I'm scared I might regret it one day. To add context, my religious trauma started in middle school when I was kicked out of the house for being disrespectful. My parents printed out a bunch of Bible verses to justify their actions, telling me it was both right and righteous to kick me out. In response, I wrote an essay supported by Bible verses to show them why what they did was wrong, but my dad dismissed it and said he'd only accept it if it came from a pastor, not me. That was the moment I began doubting my religion. Over the next few years, I thoroughly read the Bible and asked questions of religious leaders, trying to find answers. In the end, I came to the conclusion that the Christian God was either malevolent or grossly misrepresented by man, and that Christianity as a whole went against many of my personal beliefs and morals. Throughout middle school and high school, I was kicked out multiple times, and I lost a lot of faith in both the church and my family during those years. My relationship with my parents didn't begin to repair until I was diagnosed with cancer. During that time, they apologized for their actions, and we started rebuilding our relationship. My relationship with my parents has been much better since then, which is why this conversation about their will frustrated me so much. To make things even more complicated, I'm now wondering if I should tell them to choose someone else to be the executor of their will, like one of my siblings who are Christians. I feel like it's unfair to be expected to do all the work of distributing the money if I'm excluded. I also don't want to put myself in a position where I might be tempted to take something that isn't mine. I'm just so conflicted. On one hand, I don't want to sacrifice my values, or who I am. On the other hand, I can't stop questioning if I'm making the right decision. I know I'm not entitled to my parents' money, and I would have a hard time pretending to be something that I'm not, but I feel a lot of anxiety in my decision. Has anyone been in a similar situation? Do you have any advice? How do you process something like this? My specific question: how do I approach rebuilding trust and maintaining a healthy relationship with my parents after this conversation?